Probably should do some mood music or theme music. Yeah. I'm in that Virgin. Y'all, open up with something there. There we go. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever part of the day this video chooses to reach you. Hope you're feeling fine. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're feeling blessed. I hope you realize that you are blessed. It's your guy Vaughn here with another episode of Have You Seen This Shit? Yeah, your daily news show where we're going to cover some of the hot topics that are going on in politics and just the things that you don't really hear on the social media feeds. We're not going to talk too much about pop culture things. Yes, we are, but we're not going to get too deep into them. I will touch on the pop culture that where it intersects with politics, but this ain't the place for you to come to see celebrity gossip. This is a place to come see politics that's happened today, what's going on in popular culture that impacts your life. That's important, not just who's banging who. I don't care about all that stuff. I care about things that really impact your life. And on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, we have the Supreme Court saving public schools, well, helping out public schools momentarily. Harvard is under attack by the Department of Justice, Jews, and Trump. The National Oceanic Association, who handles our hurricane season predictions and monitoring storms and things like that, they've just released their forecast for storm season. But this storm season is going to be a little bit different, and we'll get into it why. Uh, President Trump got caught in another lie. Big surprise there. And Vaughn's thought of the day will be today. How did we get to the point where people that tell the truth in society are viewed as the mean individuals? Hmm. Let's sit up a little bit here. All right. So first of all, we're going to touch on the Supreme Court saving public schools. Now, if you don't know, the state of Oklahoma had the state of Oklahoma had a Catholic chart. Excuse me. The state of Oklahoma had a Catholic church that wanted to start a Catholic public charter school using public dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have school choice or charter school situations going on in your area, then I suggest you look into somebody's area that does have a charter school problem and understand why this was very important for the Supreme Court to rule on. Now, Supreme Court ruled they didn't rule in favor or deny it, but because it was a deadlock at a 4-4 and one Supreme Court justice just did not want to participate in the vote, the state of Oklahoma cannot move forward with granting this Catholic church the right to use public funds to make a charter school. That's very, very, very big because had they agreed and said, yeah, well, you know what, they can go ahead and use some public school money, public funds to make that charter school, it would have opened Pandora's box for the rest of the United States of America. Because we've seen where school choice have gone and grown into this nasty thing across each state because they removed the boundaries, removed the limits that said you couldn't make over a certain amount of money and qualify for school choice, a school choice voucher. When they removed that, oh God, school choice is gone, blown up. It's gone to the point where we're having a lot of public school problems because of it, and it's mainly because the amount of money that the schools are losing each year because they start the year with students at they start the year without the number of students that they thought they were going to have, so don't get the amount of money that they thought they were going to have, and then somewhere throughout the year they end up increasing their enrollment because people end up taking their kids out of charter schools in that area and putting them back in public schools. But the only thing is, when you put your kid back in public school, the money does not follow your kid. The money stays with that charter school. So now this public school that you're putting your kid back into because you want them to get a quality education is struggling to educate your child because they don't have the funds to educate your child plus the additional 40, 50 kids that they've gotten in the last month because their parents are mad with the charter school that they put them in and say, hey, this charter school is crap. This charter school is about to shut down. This charter school is whatever. Like, it's a million different excuses why these charter schools close every year, and the state of Florida and nationwide is doing nothing about it. So if we had seen the Supreme Court rule in favor of this, oh my God, this would have been really the downfall of public schools. And the Supreme Court ruled that approving this would would muddy the waters and make it hard for us to make a distinction between the separation of church and state. If you get what I mean, church and state, church and politics is supposed to be two totally different things. They're not supposed to be intertwined. And if the church wants to use politics money to create a school, then they're going to be intertwined. And there's no more separation of church and state. So that's why the four Supreme Court justices that voted no, that was their rationale. The one that voted for it, we won't get into that, but just know that one Supreme Court justice abstained from the vote. So this could be used as the grounds for a new church to go back and challenge the Supreme Court in the future, saying, "Hey, well, you guys technically didn't rule on it. You guys deadlocked, and as a result of the deadlock, we couldn't move forward. But you didn't say that we couldn't. You just said we couldn't move forward at that point in time. So that could be the grounds for them to try and retry this whole thing in the Supreme Court. I hope it doesn't. I hope it really just goes away, and these people just kind of, say, well, you know what, we tried. We're going to go ahead and sorry about that, guys. But yeah, Supreme Court, they saved public schools, and I am very thankful for that. Whew. Okay, next up on our list of things to talk about today is Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security and Harvard are at war. If you're unfamiliar with why Donald Trump and the Department of Homeland Security are targeting Harvard University, it started way back last year when we seen, what was the year before last, when Hamas attacked Israel with that horrendous rocket attack. We seen the then president of Harvard get pulled in front of a congressional hearing committee and grilled on anti-Semitism and saying basically, hey, if a student says it was a sham. It was a sham. That was the start of the situation with Harvard. When we seen that president getting railroaded as a result of her answers in the Senate hearings. And it's never stopped. Once Donald Trump got elected, he just put the pressure back on them even more. Now they're saying that Harvard is losing the ability to enroll international students because of their unwillingness to take anti-Semitism seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another opportunity by the Trump University, by the Trump organization or Trump administration rather, to silence people. That's all this is. When they can't force you to shut up by, whatever, you're going to see them keep getting more and more extreme with their acts. Harvard didn't do anything wrong. Harvard and so many other companies and schools and universities in the United States of America are being punished or targeted solely because they do not agree with right wing rhetoric. They don't agree with right wing ideology. They don't agree with right wing bigotry and racism. And that's all we're really seeing from the right. We see so much coming from the right under the guise of patriotism and being an American, but you guys are lying to yourself. If you're on part of the right, you're not a patriot. You're not. You're what's wrong with America. The right, the Department of Defense, Trump, they hate liberal ideology. They hate people that use their brain. They hate people that say, your way is not my way. And I have the right to think and view things the way I want to view them. They don't like that. That's why Donald Trump keeps telling lies. The man will not stop lying. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because their thought process is, If I say it enough times, no one will care if it's true or not. If I say it enough times, somebody's going to believe it as truth. If I say it enough times, the other side is going to get tired of telling me that it's not true and just leave me alone and let me keep saying it. And they're going to stop and people are going to start believing it's true. And that's what we see happen so many times. And it's ridiculous because we got to the point in America where feelings drive people more than their facts. And it should not be that way. But speaking of Trump, Donald Trump got caught lying yesterday in his meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. During his meeting, Donald Trump showed clips of what he said was genocide going on in South Africa. He showed pictures or articles he had in his hand that showed graves. Turns out the people that were behind the website that he was showing is a right-wing racist website. And most of that stuff was not even Africa. Yes, Donald Trump put up racist website up in the White House and tried to say, hey, and tried to tell the South African president, this is your country. This is going on in your country. No wonder the South African president stated, I don't recognize most of those places in that video. The man literally said it in the White House. He's like, I don't recognize most of those places. And that triggered the US media and the internet, by the way, to say, where are these places then? So you have CBS, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, all these major news outlets that started to look into what was being shown. What were those articles? And they found out he was lying. And they're having a field day just showing Donald Trump lying. The supposed graves that he was showing, the white crosses, those weren't even graves. Those were not graves. So he's trying to trigger and antagonize the South African president with lies. And that's what happens so many times, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to take this opportunity to point out that that's also a tactic they use to try and trigger black men. Now, is it ironic that Trump was a white man and the president of South Africa was a black man, and Trump was using tactics that we see used all the time to trigger the angry black man to come out? Where you try and lie and mislead and try and, frustrate the black man to the point where he loses his cool? I think that's what it was. I really think that's what Trump tried to do, but it backfired on him because one, Cyril Ramaphosa kept his cool, and he fact checked Trump in live time, real time. Secondly, his his agriculture minister John somebody put it in the comments. There's a white man who serves as Cyril Ramaphosa's agriculture minister. And at a point in the interview, he had enough of Trump's lying. And he addressed it and told him, hey, I'm the agricultural minister. I know what's going on in South Africa. I know the pulse of the South African people. And all in all, they want to stay. They don't want to come to America. And we've seen clips posted all over the internet today where white South Africans are basically telling Trump, hey, stay out of our business. What we got going on over here, that's between us. You stay over there. You're a dictator. We don't want to come over there to no dictatorship. We have a democracy over here in South Africa. We don't want to go to a dictatorship. You're trying to develop a dictatorship in America. We have a democracy that we love and we cherish and we adore in South Africa. So stay out of our affairs. So Trump got caught lying again, y'all. Which doesn't surprise me or anybody else, but it's another embarrassing situation to be a part of if you're an American citizen. Speaking of embarrassing situations, we've had a very active storm season when it comes to hurricanes, tornadoes, and whatever else you want to just call natural disasters over the last couple of years. So hurricane season starts on June 1st. NOAA just released their predictions. It's predicted to be an even more active hurricane storm season than it was last year. But this year's going to be a little bit different. Why is it going to be different? Because Donald Trump, Elon Musk, the right, and the Trump administration as a whole are cutting government funding for key programs that we need to protect us, not just in defense, but from nature. When you cut the budget of the individuals that are tasked with monitoring the storms and the hurricanes, understand that we're not going to have the same level of warning and the same level of, you know, watchfulness out there on the hurricanes this year. So I'm bringing this up because I want you to get prepared. If you're seeing this and hearing this right now, don't wait until you hear a named storm is about to make landfall to try and get supplies. Because I'm telling you right now, by the time they are telling us the storm is going to hit ground, it's going to touch land, it's going to be too late. The budgets are being cut. The individuals that staff these programs that monitor all this stuff are being deemed as, oh, that's not important. And we don't need to really need that. FEMA's budget is being cut. So we're not going to have the same level of response to storms as we had in the past. What you've gotten comfortable with in regards to storm response is not going to be what you see under the Trump administration. We're already seeing states getting hit with natural disasters requesting FEMA funds, and they're turning up, just empty handed. We're already seeing that right now. So if we have anything close to what we had last year in the state of Florida, where we literally had hurricanes that was throwing tornadoes around. Yes, I said that. And this is not no Sharknado sci-fi station type mess. In the state of Florida, last year, there was a storm. I forget the name of the storm. Came out, I believe, October or November, or either October or November. The hurricane made landfall on the west coast of Florida, traveled through it traveled eastward and slightly north, and then went off into the Atlantic Ocean. But in the process of it making landfall, there were hundreds of tornadoes reported in its path. This hurricane was creating tornadoes. We have never seen that before in the state of Florida, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a lifelong Floridian. We've never seen hurricanes create tornadoes. It's always either you have a hurricane or a tornado. Never both. We had a hurricane create tornadoes in the state of Florida, ladies and gentlemen. So understand these storms are getting a little bit worse each year. And the people that are tasked with monitoring this, their budgets are being cut. Some of them are being fired. So the response and the warning that you are accustomed to is not going to be there like we're accustomed to it. So be prepared from now. Get your water. You should have at least, I think the recommendation is 5 gallons of water per person in your home for a couple days per couple days or something like that. I don't know the exact ratio, but make sure you have plenty of water. Make sure you have plenty of toilet paper. Make sure you have batteries, radio, not uh, 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 um, not a car radio or a CD player radio. Talk about an AM FM radio that's battery powered. Nothing that plugs into the wall. Nothing in your hurricane readiness preparedness kit should have to be plugged in. Everything in that kit should be able to be powered by batteries or don't need batteries at all to be powered, i.e. solar. So if you're not relying on solar or batteries in that hurricane preparedness pack, you're messing up. So I'm telling you that right now. Get your hurricane kit ready now because these storms are getting crazier and crazier by the year. And with the cuts that we're seeing across the board in government, we're not going to have the same response that we're accustomed to. Now that brings me to Vaughn's thought of the day. I have these thoughts, and sometimes I like to put them in my pocket because I just like, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna. And sometimes I have these thoughts, and they get real deep, and I'm like, wow, I need to talk to somebody about that. And then one time I get therapy, I forget about it. So bingo, y'all ready now. Vaughn's thought of the day. Today, my thought of the day is why is it that the individuals that tell the truth and are honest are viewed as the meanest and just most vile in society? I got an idea why, and I'll share it. America, we've gotten soft. We got comfortable with lies being, put at the forefront to soothe you, as opposed to you dealing with the truth and those uncomfortable or harsh feelings that you may that you may have as a result of the truth, and just moving forward. We've gotten so soft in America, and I'm not just talking about black culture. I'm talking about America, period. Black, white, all across the board. We've gotten so soft in America that when people tell us the truth, we get in our feelings because we are emotional people now. We're driven by emotions here in America now. We're not driven by thoughts and logic anymore. Not driven by facts and concrete you know ideas. We're driven by feelings in America now. And when you're telling people the truth, a lot of times that will make them feel a type of way. The truth is not always a pretty thing. The truth can be ugly almost about 60% of the time. I'm gonna say about 75% of the time the truth is ugly. But the truth is the truth. And when you're moving with the truth, there's nothing to feel emotional about because the truth is in like I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I'm trying to explain this, but the thought process just popped in my head and said, man, just tell them to get effing feelings, but I can't say that. We've got to the point where, unfortunately, as I said, we've gotten soft and we're driven by emotions in America. When the people that tell you the truth, they're viewed as mean and vile and hurtful, but it always starts with their people's feelings. Because when you have those conversations about why somebody's feeling a certain type of way when they've heard the truth, is like, hey, that was the truth. What part of the truth did you like, what's going on? Talk to me. It's almost always said that, oh, well, they ain't have to say it like that. Excuse me. So now you're not focusing on the truth, you're focusing on the delivery, and the delivery now is the issue. Yeah, that's what is going on. People don't want the truth anymore. People want to be coddled and rocked to sleep with lies. Donald Trump being elected president proved that. We had a young lady that told us the truth about what she was going to do when she got into office. And even still, people say, "Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know her policies. I don't know about. I don't know about this. I don't know about that." This man said he was going. He didn't say nothing. He talked all type of crazy stuff. No clear, concrete vision. Still, no clear, concrete vision outside of Project 2025. But people went with that because he spoke to their emotions. He got them riled up. He spoke to their feelings. He spoke to their emotions. Tell them all type of stuff that they wanted to hear. Donald Trump told America exactly what they wanted to hear to reelect him. And once he got reelected, all the war still going on. Egg prices are shot. Oh God. Gas prices up. Grocery prices up. Tariffs have made all the prices across the board go up. Inflation has gone up. Everything has gone up. But you guys picked this man because he played with y'all emotions, because you didn't want to deal with the truth that Kamala was saying. You wanted to deal with the comfortable lie that Donald Trump was saying. And now you're in the worst situation. And that's what generally happens when we run away from the truth. We end up in a worse situation. So when you next time you're faced with someone telling you the truth, understand that that truth is saving you from a worse situation, because the lie that makes you comfortable always ends bad. It always ends bad. A comfortable lie never ended good, ever. But that truth, while it may have made you feel a certain type of way on the front side of it, on the back side of it, you was comfortable because you knew it was the truth. And you knew it wasn't going to change. And you knew it is what it is because it's the truth. As always, guys, like, comment, share. Let me know if I'm tripping, subscribe. Just continue to tell the truth. Peace. Love you guys.